Welcome to Unleash Your Healing Vibes podcast, where we talk about the many generational curses that can plague you and look at ways to break the cycles, free yourself from ancestral trauma, and transform your life to the life that you came here to live. My name is Alicia Ramella, and today's podcast will be about how important it is to change our mindset from scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Okay. So, a scarcity mindset is the feeling that there is never enough to go around. This has been programmed into you somewhere. It was either programmed into you by family members or maybe as a child in like public schools, they programmed you to think that there are only a few cookies left, right? And the first one capable of memorizing and regurgitating useless information gets those cookies, right? Okay, so then you go out into the corporate world, right? Oh, now you're programmed to fight over a job where you serve other people and make them money because no one taught you how to be an entrepreneur. It's not, it's really not exactly the people who's programmed you's fault, though, right? They're programmed too. So, this scarcity mindset is not something that comes from God when we are born. It is strategically implanted into young minds so that they're always in competition with each other and not in a good competition type of way, but more in a yes man, 9 to 5, pay your taxes, marry somebody you can't stand because you're programmed not to love yourself, buy a big house and a big car, get into debt, go to college where you pay for more programming and go into debt, cycle continues, right? I mean, unless you were like me and you took like writing courses or Greek mythology courses the whole time. Because, see, I went to college to learn things, right? I had zero interest in a career, but I was programmed that I had to go. So I went. But while I was there, I learned how to write, which is a skill that I still use today to make money. I also learned about Greek mythology and Carl Jung and psychology of religion courses, which I use all of these in my coaching. But there wasn't really a lot of programming going on at those classes that I took. How are you going to program someone who's literally just interested in reading Asclepius and Antigone, right? Plus, let's just say that I was never really the programmable kid to begin with. I had critical thinking skills from a very young age. And I was just never good with authority. I think they call that something now, right? It's oppositional defiant disorder. Yeah, that's it. That must have been me. I guess it's considered a psychological issue if you question authority and think for yourself. But hey, I was still somehow programmed for some things, and one of those was to have a scarcity mindset. Now, it's really odd because I didn't grow up poor or anything like that, but the scarcity mindset was still what I grew up in the environment hearing, right? We don't have enough money to do that, or we can't do this. We can't go out to eat every night of the week, but I mean, was it really true? We never had car payments. We never had house payments. We owned everything that we needed. So I never really saw an actual struggle, but that scarcity mindset was still very much implanted into the environment on all sides of my family. Okay, so of course became confused, right? And then I grew up with a few hoarders in my family. So I went the opposite there. I lose stuff, I give stuff away, because I never, ever, ever wanted to make stuff more important than human beings or, now to my kids. And so to this day, stuff is not more important than people. And I remember, this is funny, but as a kid, there was a couch I wasn't allowed to sit on. Let me run that by you once more. A piece of furniture made to sit on was taking up space in this house, and I was not allowed to sit on it. And the poor couch had to feel inadequate its whole life because it never got to live out its purpose. But it's a different story for a different, day. But you can see how this scarcity mindset was programmed in. And it can be done in many ways. And it's not always the evil trauma-based mind control manner, unless you're in some of those groups. But for whatever reason, you've been programmed with a scarcity mindset. Now, say as an adult, you've got this good job, you're checking off all the boxes, right, that you were programmed to check off, right? That's supposed to equate happiness. But like all of a sudden, you're living paycheck to paycheck, right? And money's just not flowing in and out of your life like it should be. Money is energy and it's meant to be fluid. So, the first things first, if you have a scarcity mindset and you want to change it to an abundance one, you need to make friends with money. And I wholeheartedly mean this in a cute little way, too, right? Make it fun. Take your money out or a penny out, if that's all you have, and talk to it. Tell the money you want to get to know it as an energy, as a frequency. I know it sounds silly, but hear me out, okay? Let's say instead that you hoard money, right? You put it in a box somewhere or a bank somewhere, which you might want to rethink that too. If you really love your money, do you want it to live in a safe environment, right? So maybe it's best to start keeping it somewhere closer to you. Somewhere that maybe you own and somewhere that maybe you can take it all out on a date if you want to, right? And you don't have to wait like 3 weeks to get it transferred from other banks or whatever that nonsense is all about. I'm sorry, but my money isn't in banks except when I like put it in to pay bills because, other than that. Okay, so once upon a time, in my olden days, when I was an addict, I was in jail the first time. Okay, so I was young and not super bright with the ways of the real world yet, right? I had this cash only bond. And as you do when you're in jail and you're withdrawing, you beg your family to come get you out. I knew my dad had this amount of money in the bank. So I was like, you need to go get it and get me out of here now. He replies with, Al, you can't take that much money out of the bank in one day or even a couple of days. I said, what? What do you mean? It's your money and the bank won't give it to you as soon as you ask for it? Why in the world do people put money in banks then? I mean, I know sometimes you can like grow money with interest and blah, blah, CD, money markets, all that. But in today's day and age, especially, I will never have my money where I cannot get to it. Even, maybe my kid needs to get out of jail one day. I don't know. But the point is, treat your money like you would a friend or a family member or a close pet. Keep it somewhere safe where you can talk to it. Now, I'm not a money advisor, so whatever disclaimer I need to insert here. But like, I don't know, maybe you could try things like gold or silver or property or some other kind of hard assets like an old vehicle, that show your money that you love it, right? Instead of like on South Park when they go, and it's gone. So anyway, make money your friend, right? Okay, so the next thing that you want to do is get your mind and body in vibrational alignment with the frequency of money in order to attract it to you. So, how do we do that? Well, first, you have to replace all of those scarcity and lack mindset thoughts, right? With positive and abundance thoughts instead. So, instead of the limiting beliefs that you have about money, you have to recognize them and understand that it is just programming and it's not your fault that you had them, right? Don't judge them, but let's rewire your brain and change them. You can get started on this today. Okay. And while you're at it, let's change some other ones, right? So if you're always saying, I don't have enough money this month to pay all my bills, and so I'm going to have to cut back somewhere, change that to, I know that I have bills and shopping to do this month, but I know that the universe or God is going to provide everything that I need. I'm going to experience abundance this month and more. I will have more than enough to cover the bills and eat this month, and maybe have enough to take the kids out to a movie too. Then, envision the way you will feel when this occurs. How nice it will be not to stress out over money this month. How will your kids' faces look when you surprise them and take them out to see a movie this month? Or how good will it feel to be able to go to the local farmer's market and order some real chicken, for your family because you can afford it? You know what? It's really a good idea when you do this to try to get rid of other negative thinking traps too. So you can go ahead and try to change them all while you're at it, right? So instead of saying things to yourself like, I'm unlovable, you can say, I am loved and I love myself. Any negative self talk or limiting belief that you have, even if it's not about money, you can work to change that. If you find this a bit challenging, you might want to try to just turn the original thought upside down, right? Inverse it like everything else. So if you say to yourself, I don't deserve love, change it to, I definitely deserve to be loved. Or if you say things like, I have too much anxiety to socialize right now, change it to, I will have so much fun when I let loose and socialize this month. And once you start changing your mindset on a daily basis, this will start to work. If you do it one day and then complain you don't have a ton of money falling from the sky into your lap, though, then that's not really a change of mindset. You have to make a permanent, lasting change, and you need to work on it daily. And you will probably need to be patient too. But remove the block in your mind that says you can't have money quickly. Get rid of that. You can definitely manifest money quickly, especially with all the energies right now in the world. We live in an abundant world, so it can happen quickly or slowly. Either way, the point is to remain positive about it no matter what. Okay, so now let's dig into the trauma. So, even if you've worked through your own trauma, you know that you're going to hit the ancestor ceiling, right, at some point. And then you're going to need to work on releasing all of the generational trauma that you're carrying. Money is often a big generational trauma. Whether your family had money or didn't have money, there's still typically some type of trauma or poverty mindset that's in there somewhere. Either someone had money and felt guilty about it, so they passed down a vow of poverty, or someone grew up really poor, so they passed down the scarcity mindset and fear of running out of money. And that trauma is stored right in your DNA. Either way, though, it can be healed and dealt with. There are many ways that we can work on healing our generational trauma. Trauma is simply energy, and often this energy can get stuck in our physical body. However, that's not the only place it can be. You can have generational trauma stuck in your spiritual body, emotional body, intellectual body, and more. So you can try things like meditations, rituals, energy work, working directly with your ancestors who have passed on. Just ask them to help you break free from this generational trauma. There's many types of energy work that you can try to release trauma. You can begin to do inner child work, shadow work, especially if you haven't dealt with your own trauma yet. Typically, you need to work with your own trauma first before you can really get into the generational stuff, but that may not be the case for everybody. That's just kind of what I've seen in clients and, with myself. But anyway, you have to heal these financial traumas, right? Moving on to another one. Another one of my favorite ways to work on a scarcity mindset, and that is the practice of gratitude. And it worked. Okay. So when you wake up each day, think of 4 or 5 things that you're grateful for. It becomes a refreshing morning practice, and it will help abundance begin to flow into your life. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, focus on what you do have and your appreciation of it. So God or the universe, can hear your gratitude and offer you more blessings, right? So for example, I wake up each day and I mention all the things that I'm grateful for. And they don't have to be huge, just things that I'm really grateful for, right? Soon you find that you have enough to be grateful for, and you don't need like you think you do. And actually, you probably have more than enough. already. Even if you're late on an insurance payment or you have food and family and a car, maybe electricity, computer, soon your list grows and grows. Like, for example, I'm grateful each morning that I have wonderful kids who are healthy and I have central heating and cooling. Okay. Every day in the winter, I'm grateful for the heat. Every day in the summer, I'm grateful for my air conditioner. Do you know why? I lived for years without this luxury and had the window units and the Eden Pure heaters. And now I am like over the moon, thankful to have central heating and cooling again. Sometimes you have to go through things in life to really appreciate it. When I was a kid, we had central heating and cooling, so I never thought to be grateful for it, right? But as an adult, it went out and I couldn't afford to pay thousands of dollars to fix it. So the window units and the infrared heaters became what I had to do out of a necessity. And of course, I was thankful that I had those. But now that I am in a home with the same temperature all throughout the whole house, I don't need a sheet hanging down. I don't have to fight stink bugs that come in through the windows in the fall. Life has let me go through some things without so that I could learn to be appreciative when I do have. And I think that is a lesson that many people don't have. And maybe that's why they are so unkind. You know, had I not went through what I did, I would still be an entitled brat human. And I don't want to be anything like my younger self. I certainly wouldn't be doing what I do for a living and helping others. I would have instead gone a more selfish route. But my first year of college knocked that selfish person right out of me, though. In my very first political science class, the first semester, I realized real quick I wanted nothing to do with that area of the world. And I was not interested in being a lawyer anymore. I realized I wanted to help people and be of service instead of losing my soul in that area. And I'm not knocking lawyers. I owe my life to a very good lawyer or two. But I just felt the corruption in the education, that these classes and criminal justice too were teaching, and I just couldn't resonate it with me, personally. Like for example, they were talking about keeping criminals in this cycle of jail and release and back to jail. Basically, they use different context words, of course, to make it sound pretty, but that's what it was. Instead of pumping money and time and effort into reforming, programs and helping these people, many of whom were just hooked on drugs and alcohol, and I was one of them. Think about it. It seemed to be all about money and profits and serving the program and the system, and I did not want to be a part of it. So I switched over to psychology and I started my journey, which ultimately has led to me becoming a life coach. I get to fulfill my dream of helping people, and I get to do it while being a single mom at home. I get to homeschool my kids. I get to grow my garden, none of which I could have been able to do had I went in that direction, right? I might have had more money sooner in my life, but I'd probably still be a drunk because my soul would have been pushed to the side to go that way. But I now know that I am here to have a soul-led purpose and live authentically to my soul. And I am grateful for everything that has happened to get me here. Some people who are born with money and never get a chance to go without money or air conditioning don't get that sense of humility. And I think that's why some people stay selfish, cold, and materialistic their entire lives. Instead of finding their true purpose in life, they don't get a chance to be humbled, and it's kind of sad. So many people could really benefit from a rock bottom, right? Anyway, I hope that illustrates the power of gratitude, okay? And it will shape your scarcity mindset big time. So the next one I want to get into may sound counterintuitive to some of you, but hear me out. And that is to give. Give, but Alicia, I don't have enough to give. I can't make my ends meet right now. But see, that's scarcity mindset. What you need to do is try to give a percentage of your money all the time. It can be a real small amount. You can donate like $5 here and there to your church or wherever. But let me tell you that it comes back and often more that you gave in the first place. It's not about being greedy and hoarding. That is not how you treat money. We're supposed to be kind. and we're supposed to be giving at all times. Have faith that when you give money or your time or your things, that you will get back what you gave. And if you're afraid to start with money, I get it. So instead, you can start with things. Declutter. Declutter your home. Find clothes that you never wear or can't fit in anymore. You know, the ones you've been saving forever when you lose weight. Pass those on to a consignment shop or a thrift store, and someone who doesn't have any pants will actually get to wear them and make good use of them. We're not meant to store up material things in this lifetime. This is written in all of the ancient texts, including the Greek myths and in the Bible. I'm sure everyone's heard of King Midas and his golden touch, right? That story reminds us not to be greedy and concerned about wealth. The Bible teaches many the same. One was about the farmer. He stored up a bunch of food and grain in the barn, right? Only to die and never get to benefit from any of it. And there are many more stories like this from ancient times and all the way up to now. But my point is to give if you really want to receive. And I'm not saying that greedy people can't make it and have a bunch of money. Of course they do. But you want to be in alignment with abundance and still keep your soul, right? So try giving, give things, give time, go to a homeless shelter, help make food. And then when you're ready to start donating money, small amounts of money, and eventually you'll be blessed with enough to give a big amount, and you'll still have everything that you need, and it will feel so good. And another way to get rid of scarcity is to stop comparing yourself to others. This is never going to end up making you feel any better. Everybody's on a different journey. Everybody has a different frequency of money. Everybody's got a different relationship with money. And what makes some people, they can survive on less and become a lot happy. And some rich people have a lot of money and they're just miserable. So don't compare yourself to others. Everybody's journey is different. That's why I hate the energy of social media and what it's become. People are constantly comparing themselves to others. They can't even have a fun vacation with their kids because they're too busy making everyone pose for vacation pictures to post on the internet to prove they're really cool, fun parents. When in reality, you know what your kids want you to do? Get the heck off the phone and spend time with them while you're at the beach. I mean, it's not really everybody's fault, right? This stuff has been purposely programmed into every human being on the planet to ensure that people don't get together in groups and actually hang out and discuss ways to better the future and all that. Everyone alone in boxes with the false pretense that they have friends that they communicate with and likes and all this. I don't know. But it's really not healthy for your mental health. And if you have to use social media, great. That's your lifestyle choice. But don't compare yourself to others. And it can be hard. If you see everything that everybody else has, it can be super hard not to get envy and jealous and all that kind of stuff. But that's only going to reinforce your scarcity mindset and commercialism. Instead, what you need to do, we need to work on our inside, our inner world, our spiritual life, our soul, our authenticity, healing our trauma, working on the inner child, working with our shadow, learning how to become our authentic and whole selves so that we don't wind up repeating the same stupid lessons over and over and over again. They want you to look externally for everything, but it's internal. You need to look inside. Speak to your highest self, and you'll find God inside you, not outside. He's not somewhere out on a cloud with lightning bolts like Zeus. It's a great story, but that's not where you're going to find God. He is inside of you. You are a divine soul, and you don't need to compare yourself to others. And in fact, we are all one anyway. We're all part of the same source, the same fabric of life. And we've forgotten how to connect to others in real life like our ancestors did. But it's way overdue. It's way time to get back to community-minded life. Scarcity mindset just drums up all of the emotions like that. It's not just comparing. You will start feeling envy, jealousy, fear. And what do all of those emotions have in common? They are lower vibrational emotions. And you can't attract money in abundance while you are in these lower level vibrational states of being. It's just not going to happen. So the more jealous, envious, or fearful you become, just know that you're not going to be able to make any more money that way. You'll stay stuck in a scarcity mindset. It's when you change your thinking to higher vibrations like joy, positivity, unconditional love, and gratitude that you will see a change in your financial situations. Well, the next couple of tips, I'm just going to rapid fire so that I can wrap this up and you guys can do some research if you want to in the rest of these. Okay. So here we go. Focus on opportunities. Find others with abundant mindset and hang out with them instead of the scarcity mindset people. You are what you are around, and you will attract what you surround yourself with. Reprogram your mind to be positive. Reframe your thoughts. Start small and celebrate your wins. Practice mindfulness. Journal. Learn to love yourself. Manage your finances by starting a budget. Get a coach or a therapist for extra guidance and accountability. Accountability is huge. Practice affirmations. Listen to money frequencies like the root chakra frequency to make you feel safe, the love frequency, which I think is 528 hertz, and the 888 hertz frequency, which of abundance. Okay. And you can listen to these while you sleep. You can listen to these while you meditate. You can listen to these while you practice affirmations. They will all work out for you. Okay. All right, guys. I hope I've offered you guys some tips that you can work on to start changing your scarcity mindset today. Remember, it's a program. It isn't natural. You're not born with a scarcity mindset, and you do not have to keep entertaining it and repeating the same cycles. You can change it to abundance and live the life you were born to live. Remember to unleash your healing vibes. And I also want to invite you guys to join my 5-day vibe shift challenge right now to get started on some of this for free. You'll get 5 days of actual resources to help you with your financial trauma. The link will be in the description below the episode.